Hello, everybody, and welcome to Planet FPL, the world where everything revolves around Fantasy Premier League. My name's David.
My name is James. You nearly stumbled. You
I did, yeah.
nearly,
I nearly
nearly
said,
stumbled.
I nearly said my name's Sudge, which
Only I would make a mistake like that and
in my
definitely not
wildest
realize when I
dreams.
did it.
Yeah. How are you, mate?
I'm good, mate. Thank you. Suj is flying somewhere today, I believe. So, Mr. David Hunter is with me. You're running the show, mate. How's your game week
Oh,
so far?
miserable so far. I think a lot are in the same boat. I think if you don't own like Joao Pedro or Semenyo or Cole Palmer or Virgil van Dijk, and lots of people do, unfortunately.
Or left
And
Malik Chow on your bench?
yeah,
That's me.
it's not. There's just twos everywhere in my looking at my team. Although Gay got a clean sheet last night, but I guess the real quiz starts tonight, doesn't it? When Arsenal start the double game week, so some will have had double game week Wolves players who were off to a flyer as
Yeah,
well. So
Jose Sarr, 12
yeah,
pointer. Hello.
12 points, yeah, 10 saves. So yeah,
Joao Gomez, I think decent return, 6 points. I think Joao Gomez.
yeah, he wrapped up
And
the Bethcons
Mane,
again.
Mane had a couple of efforts. I think he was one off DEFCON, I think.
He was, yeah,
Mateus Mane. He should have scored at the end, but they should have lost, as we'll get on to.
indeed, yes. So yeah, how's your game week going?
On 28,
Yeah,
um, which, I mean, it's interesting. You look at the average at the moment, it's 40 points. But yeah, there's so much still to go. My 28 is made up of nearly half from Nico O'Reilly, which intriguingly, had I made a move to force Daniel Munoz in, I would have taken out O'Reilly and Malik Chow. I decided to bench Malik Chow. I'd ummed and ahed about this so much, and most commonly I would go Chow over Thiago for the all-in strategy because obviously Thiago's going against Arsenal, and I could have gone Dubravka rather than Verbruggen because I had Verbruggen going against Rodgers. I didn't fancy Burnley for a clean sheet in the slightest, and Villa hadn't scored in their last two home games. And I thought, well, there's maybe a narrative there for Brighton, and actually could have been there actually until obviously the late goal. I ended up putting Malik Chow last on my bench because the more I'd thought about it, the more I'd actually convinced myself there was a chance that he'd get benched because he has played a lot of football. Dan Burn hadn't played at the weekend, and I was certain that Dan Burn would play. So it's okay. Well, it's probably a 33% chance here then that he's going to get left out. And then looking at Thiago and thinking, well, what if Arsenal do slip up and Brentford get a result? They've got the best results against the expected top eight. I realise mine's no longer part of that, but they've only taken 1 point unbelievably against my team. So let's say the expected top seven with Newcastle. They've got the best points return of any team in the league. So it's like, well, I should probably play him. If this goes wrong for the Arsenal defence and stuff, there's a chance he'll be involved. If you said Arsenal going to concede across this game week, he's the most likely player, isn't he?
yeah.
So I thought, oh, you're being silly here, James. Talisman on pens. Was he second highest scorer in the league? I don't know if Semenyo might be matching him now. I thought just play Thiago. And obviously, look, that's not lost yet, but I don't expose Thiago's going to get two returns tonight. I'd be delighted if he got one and killed some of the triple captaincy on Gabriel. But for those who are sitting there going, oh, terrible game week so far, if you've got the triple captaincy active, there's a fair chance you're not even halfway through your game week. I know that sounds ridiculous when 18 of the 20 teams have played, but effective for me, I've had 7 of 18 players so far with the effectiveness of the double game week and the triple captaincy being on Gabriel. So I said on Monday's pod that I thought this game week would be defined by what Arsenal players did. So let's see.
Yeah.
There's no point sweating about it too much more. O'Reilly, obviously, 13 points, as I said. Blanks for Bruggen, Enzo Fernandez, Bruno Fernandez, Morgan Rogers, Hugo Ekiteke, a Erling Haaland assist, which unbelievably still he was over 100% EO. It does make me wonder how many dead teams there might be in the top 50k or so. So nothing good other than Nico O'Reilly, but some of the underlying data still decent for a few of the players. Ekiteke should have scored last night twice, really. Enzo Fernandez underlying from Tuesday night, still really good. Just ended up on the wrong side of that with him over the last two game weeks. No concerns for him. So, yeah, we move. And a lot will obviously be defined by Arsenal players. I guess main headline this morning, first and foremost, is Nottingham Forest announcing the sacking of Sean Dyche at midnight last night, which was funny seeing that break. And I had Sky Sports News on the background. It took them about half hour to put the graphic up because they just leave the rolling. They just leave it rolling over and over and over during the middle of the night, don't they? Obviously, off the back of Thomas Frank getting dismissed on Tuesday, we are going to primarily discuss Frank and Dyche specifically more on the weekend of tomorrow. I obviously covered a lot of Thomas Frank on my stream yesterday as well. Ricky Saunders will be on the podcast next week as well. So there's plenty of coverage coming up on Frank and Dyche. We'll try and keep this mainly to the football, but I'm sure there will be a bleed into the 2 managerial dismissals as well.
Yeah.
Should we do games, David?
See the games, yeah. So we'll start on Tuesday night with Chelsea 2, Leeds 2. I managed to catch most of this actually because my team played last night, obviously not on Tuesday night. So started with Chelsea and Leeds, and Chelsea will be kicking themselves with this, to be honest, because they were just so dominant. Going 2-0 up. Yeah, first half, Leeds had an XG of 0.01. To kind of
sounds like a Tottenham first half, that.
Yeah, to put it into perspective and how dominant Chelsea were. Yeah, as a non-Palmer and Joao Pedro owner, it was sort of watching it through your fingers, really. It was Pedro is full of confidence at the moment and linking up really well with Cole Palmer. Enzo Fernandez was not a million miles away in terms of attacking positions, but it seemed to be Palmer and Pedro that were kind of doing bits for Chelsea. Took his goal really well, Pedro. It's the sort of finish of a striker who's full of confidence. This kind of laughable collision after he sort of dinked it between Bournemouth and Darlow in the Leeds goal. They went 2-0 up with an absolutely moronic push from beyond.
Do you know what? That's absolutely mental, that penalty incident, because you probably see like one of them a season, I'd say, where someone just does something stupid and gives someone like a 2-hand push. It's happened specifically on Joao Pedro twice in 4 days.
I know, which is an assist, of course, as well. So, yeah, when you don't own him, it's like, bloody hell, that's the last thing you need. And you just think, yeah, Chelsea are going to see this out now. I must say I was really impressed with Andre Santos in midfield. I like the way he's always looking forward when he gets the ball, I've noticed, which is a good asset, I would say, in a player in his position. Very tidy on the ball. Yeah, good player. So yeah, Chelsea 2-0 up, and then Leeds with a bit of a kind of patchwork team, I guess, because Calvert-Lewin was ill, we believe, after the game that they had on.
Farker had said on Monday, he said he'd been ill during the Forest game. And I did sort of think, why have you brought that up? And it was almost like preempting a bit of an excuse for him, but he didn't say, oh, he's ill now. He was like, yeah, he had been ill, is what he'd said. So,
right. Yeah, one of those. Yeah, but kind of out of nowhere, Leeds got a little bit of encouragement from Chelsea and got more and more into the game. They got their own penalty where Caicedo brings down, I forget who it was now, to be honest. But yeah, Mecha takes the penalty. And then the second goal is just kilometres from Chelsea's point of view.
Jayden Bogle on the penalty, wasn't it? Who had
that's right.
It hits his arm. I don't think that's
Jayden Bogle.
I don't think that should be given personally.
Bogle, by the way, really far forward for Leeds. His heat map is, we kind of nominally know him as a right back, but 4.4, played really far forward, just ahead of James Justin on the right hand side for Leeds. Then Bogle's brilliant for the Leeds equaliser. There's 4 or 5 of them that should deal with
brilliant. It. Just kamikaze, isn't
it? Yeah. Just keeps going, Bogle, and disrupts Chelsea, and breaks to Okafor to equalise. And then we have to talk about the Cole Palmer miss at the end, I guess. Chelsea kind of energised by letting in that second goal, and we're really knocking on the door for that winner.
It's beautiful moves they put together to open that scenario as well.
Yeah, they were just camped in Leeds' box at the end, and I fully expected them to score. I was obviously with my Liverpool hat on. I was thinking, come on, Leeds, it'd be great if you can pinch a point here. But
I'm not going to say the opposite. I don't dare do it.
Yeah.
Plus, I think I'm certain Leeds are going to be okay. By the way.
Yeah. No, they're really playing some good stuff at the moment. But Palmer, yeah, you would have put your mortgage on him scoring that. I said to you before we started, I kind of understand it in a way, because when the ball's fizzed across like that, even though he is so far out, and yes, he should score, if the ball just hits the wrong part of your boot, it can just kind of fly over and make you look silly, can't it? So a little bit of sympathy with Palmer there, but
Yeah, it's
yeah,
not come to him on the ground. You just got to get the right connection and contact, and just you almost deflect it in basically. And it's just happened this hit him a little bit higher than where he wants, obviously. And it is so agonisingly close
yeah,
to going over the bar. His face is such a picture.
yeah,
He stands in the back of the net for like 10, 15 seconds, doesn't he? Just hanging onto the net. And he looks like he's halfway between crying and pissing himself laughing at himself. It's quite an image. So look, he's in great form. Those who've been on Palmer and Joao Pedro be absolutely delighted with these returns. You got one really good fixture still to go against Burnley, but the fact that it's only one good fixture to go, I won't be chasing either personally.
no,
Um,
same.
on Jaden Bogle, he's 4.4. That's obviously interesting in terms of positioning, but I don't think it would last. I think not for the first time. Leeds have kind of had, I don't want to say patched up team would be unfair, but he's taken a chance on the selection a little bit on an away game, a little bit like he did at Liverpool, actually. And I'm going to assume you'll agree, David, they were more deserving of the point against you than actually they were on Tuesday night. Chelsea just had a kamikaze 10 minutes or
Yeah,
so.
yeah, yeah.
There wouldn't be a reason, however, to look at Bogle's position and think, oh, Leeds have got good fixtures coming up pretty much from game week 29. I'd invest in him at 4.4 when you've got Goodmanson, who gets really advanced from left wing back at 3.8. I wouldn't see any reasoning for that. I went to ask you about Enzo Fernandez. He's basically the last two games, and his underlying data for the two games is really good. Kind of played as the left-sided of an attacking four, basically. Palmer central, a right winger, Joao Pedro as a nine. He's played off the nine. Now, he's obviously not going to be holding the touchline. He's going to be sitting in more central areas from that position, kind of a la sort of Xavi Simons for my team. Um, I don't think it will stick though, and it's notable. Mark Cucurella went off at half time. Liam Rosenior did say hamstring problem, so we don't know the extent of that yet. But as soon as you hear that, you think, oh, okay, that could be a while. Now they've been playing with basically Cucurella and Gusto the last few games, really pushing high. That could be that Reece James returns soon and he tucks in a little bit more from the right back position. We thought when he took over, we'd get a real bias towards left sided attack. We've seen more balance, actually, I think, from Chelsea. But that, with Enzo coming off that pocket into there, you're still getting him into really nice positions. Cucurella obviously has got the energy to go up and down. You could shove Gusto to that side. Play Hatto there. Feels like when Hatto's played, that's been a little bit problematic for them. He's still a young boy. So keen to keep an eye on that with Enzo Fernandez and see how that develops if Mark Cucurella's not back for the Burnley game. Remember, obviously, it's FA Cup this weekend, so we've got a good while to go till game week 27. So if it's just tight, he might even be back. But there's every chance to think he won't make that game, Mark Cucurella.
I think with Enzo, he's obviously not on pens now with Palmer back in the fold, so that's a disappointment. But he was always in reasonably advanced positions, and I think for me, clearly with Burnley at home next, you're not going to shift him on. Probably will after that though. I'll be thinking about what I can do with moving it on because Chelsea's fixtures do take a turn after the next game week. I think anyone sat there with Joao Pedro, I don't know, we aren't. It's you're probably feeling really good about that because if you're a
Oh
fixture
yeah, in
head,
hindsight, he would have been worth dumping the value in Thiago and going in for this run and then going
yeah,
back. And that was always a deliberation move for me. That's right, it's fine.
yeah, not going to go there now because of like you said, there's only one really sort of great fixture still to go. Yeah, Renzo's fine. He is playing now that Palmer's back on as what he is really, which is a 6.5 ish midfielder. He's not kind of you're not going to get much more out of him than that really. But yeah, for one more week. Review after that, I think.
Yeah, that Enzo XGI, by the way, for these two games against Wolves Leeds, 1.84.
Decent.
With 0.72 of that as XG. So if you're on Enzo Fernandez, only been very unlucky not to get anything for these two games. Just to shout out another DEFCON for Trevor Chalobah. Added late, but
Yeah.
in time. I mean, the game week's not going to end for another week or so, David, in fairness. So who knows? There might be a few more. But that's a lot now in a row. He's doing really well for it. But again, only just in. I covered that earlier this week that he's just getting in, but just is enough. It all counts. The problem is, they don't keep many clean sheets. They've had one so far in the league under Liam Rosenior, and that was kind of a bit of a miracle that they got hold of that in that game against Brentford, actually. But I've seen people go, I'm really frustrated with Chalobah, Sanchez and stuff. I know they won this week. You surely ain't selling that for Burnley at home.
No,
That
not,
can
no.
wait. That can wait a week. And Everton away in 31 to cover the blank is obviously not a terrible fixture either.
Yeah,
But yeah, I wouldn't be for me, looking at them going to Arsenal and Villa straight afterwards, then the restart of the Champions League. I'm not chasing after Joao Pedro or Cole Palmer at this point. And ultimately, although they all obviously count, 3 of Cole Palmer's goals have been penalties.
correct. Yeah, with Pedro assists for the penalties most
Well,
of.
I mean, 2 of the penalties are just seen individual bits of madness from Virgil, and I think it was Mascara at the weekend.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Everton 1, Bournemouth 2. I've seen limited highlights of this, really, just the sort of 5 or 6 minute highlights from match of the day. But looking at the data, Everton a little bit unlucky to lose this. I think as much as Iraola admitted in his post match interview, he said they will play, they'll win games. They won't win games playing better than that. Everton far superior in the XG. 3 big chances versus 2. Large part of that is down to a really bad miss from Tierno Barry in the first half. He should do a lot better than that.
And a great block from Alex Jimenez for a chance he had in the second as well.
Very much so, yeah. Before the deadline, I was really wrestling with who to play out of Thiago and Dewsbury Hall. And I went with Dewsbury Hall in the end just because I benched him for his points against Fulham at the weekend. So pure FPL, play him and don't get any points for it whatsoever. Fine with the decision, to be fair. Bournemouth may be of more interest than Everton, I think it's fair to say, in terms of FPL. So Krupi didn't start this one. Came on for Evan Nilsson. Evan Nilsson got hooked before 60. Rayan, probably need to talk about him. And probably need to talk about James Hill as well. 20 DEFCON.
And only 7 for Senesi, I think.
Yeah, Senesi didn't hit it. Truffert and Scott did hit it. And an assist for Hill as well for one of the Bournemouth goals as well. So, yeah, lots of good budget players with good fixtures to come for Bournemouth, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, 2 in a row for Senesi. No DEFCON. And Hill, I mean, at the moment, I wouldn't actually be a reason at this moment to pick Senesi over James Hill. I think Hill has gone up to 4.0 now.
Yeah.
Which if Sunderland had played Tuesday night, I might have actually just pulled the trigger on that. So he's very much in my thinking Alderete might have a problem for Sunderland. I don't have much money in the bank. I might well go down that route and go, yeah, okay. I might go down that route without actually even played him necessarily against West Ham in Gameweek 27. Yeah, Rayan, when we did the transfer window show in January, we were looking at signings and stuff, he was pretty much the only one. We're like, there might be a fantasy asset here, quite possibly. We'd said then, if he comes in less than 6, this could be really interesting. So he came in at 5.5. He's still at this moment 5.5. 19 points from his 3 games so far, bearing in mind the first one was obviously a substitute appearance when he assisted at Wolves. Goal against Villa, which shows obviously his good carrying ability. This one stands out for me more, though, because you don't get many wingers getting on the back post quite like that. So, and he's a big lad. If people haven't seen him yet, he's a big lad. So if he's got that capability to get in on the back post as well, very, very interested. My major problem with him at the moment would be that I haven't really seen him.
Yeah.
That's my major problem. And if I look at, I might want to move Enzo Fernandez on after 27, maybe when Chelsea go to Arsenal, that feels better for me. Plus, I get a good look at him at West Ham next week because that game's on the telly. I actually haven't seen Bournemouth's last 2 league games, and I don't like buying a player when I ain't visually seen. You would say so far from the limited data, there's obviously an overperformance there, isn't there? The data is exceptionally good for a 5.5 million midfielder from the game so far, but 3 attacking returns is, of course, an overperformance. That game at West Ham, I think, is a really difficult one to call because Bournemouth are they're swingy, right? They'll swing at anyone. And I think most would maybe want to try and suck West Ham in at the moment. Bournemouth will probably go there and attack. But as you well said, actually, they probably should have lost this. Andoni Iraola was very honest and said, like, they were much better against Villa than they were at Everton, kind of conceded that they probably didn't deserve the victory. Yeah, Rayan at 5.5 is a standout, but I want to see it first. I had questions yesterday, people asking about going Declan Rice to him and stuff. Oh, have you seen Tottenham? Like, I probably would just leave that another week, personally. And then if people want to go there from 28, Sunderland at home, Sunderland are not as strong away from home as they are at home. By all means, have a look, and I may well do so myself. If I had an injury, truthfully, at this moment, where I was like, oh shit, I've got to put someone in, I'd probably more go Dango than him at this moment. Just pure, I know Dango.
Yeah.
I know what I need to know about him. I don't have the information on Rayan. But if people want to punt it for someone who's obviously a differential, well, there's a chance he might not be a differential in a few weeks. So that wants awareness. On Krupi, I wouldn't be too concerned that he got benched. If you're an Evan Nilsson owner, that's a definitive sell. I just think this is obviously Bournemouth with their high energy style, having 2 games in 3 days. I think Krupi probably will come back into the team for the trip to West Ham. And I'd be holding that at the moment. We've got an exceptional run of fixtures. West Ham away, Sunderland, Brentford at home, Burnley away. And then obviously it's Manchester United at home in the blank. And Bournemouth are very capable in any game. Me and Suj were discussing yesterday on Tottenham. I think it's only the bottom 3 have conceded more goals than Bournemouth, but there's only 4 teams that scored more than them. That was certainly the stats prior to last night.
That's basically why I played Dewsbury Hall, because I just thought Bournemouth always give you a chance when.
Yeah, I don't blame you for that.
Home.
And yeah, West Ham would be very capable of beating them in Gameweek 27, but Bournemouth will also go there and be very capable of beating West Ham as well. Everton, I think United at home, Newcastle away, you're not looking at the moment across the next 2. It's Arsenal away and Chelsea at home in 30 and 31 after a home encounter against Burnley. If you're a Michael Keane owner, that's a sell. So going into the weekend game at Fulham, I did think, oh, I wonder if Brantthwaite's going to play twice in like 3 days, not sure. And I'd covered on the team news stream prior to that. It's more likely that he'll come maybe in for the second one rather than he play Fulham and then he's back out of the team. It's like, okay, keep building him up, another few days training, maybe he'll come back in. So now I think we know that, and in pre-season we'd have thought Brantthwaite and Tarkowski all day long. Michael Keane is not going to play left back. Yes, Jared Brantthwaite, as per the game, I think at Brighton, can play left back, but Mikalenko is more natural for that position. Obviously, Jake O'Brien will be suspended for the game against Manchester United, so it does open up a right back spot. I would presume, though, that Patterson will just play, or Seamus Coleman if he's available. None of those centre backs that are Keane, Tarkowski or Brantthwaite would be suitable to play right back. You wouldn't do it.
No.
Or the other thing that they could do is bring a Rogbinham into the team, play James Garner at right back. That's not ideal. James Garner has missed DEFCON in this one. It's the first time for a while, actually. Still 10, so he's not like he's miles off. Garner Gay was only 1 off. Hillerman and Diye only 1 off as well. Just before we move on, just a point on Bournemouth's second goal, because I know a lot of Everton fans really unhappy with this goal. And I understand perfectly why, because there's a player in front of Hill who's offside, who jumps to try and head the ball. It goes over his head. Hill then knocks it back across for Adley. And the reason that's angered Everton fans quite a bit is because they had a very, very similar goal at Aston Villa, ruled out about a month or so ago when Tierno Barry scored the winner. The difference between the two situations, because there isn't a lot between them, there is only one difference. The goal that was disallowed at Villa was given offside on the pitch, and this one was not.
Okay.
That is essentially the difference. So VAR on both instances, because I said on the Villa goal, I'd probably like that to stand, but the linesman's put his flag up. I don't have a problem with it. And I feel similar on this one. So VAR is probably not going to get involved in either of those incidents. What I'm saying is if the goal at Villa had stood and this one was called offside, I don't think either decision would have been changed.
Yeah.
So that's the reasoning why.
Fair enough. Yeah, one of my mates messaged me on Tuesday night saying that he had Michael Keane in his team and he was hoping he stayed off the bench because he had Chow on the bench. I would imagine he's not the only one with being in that position. It's a bit of a kick in the teeth. Keane coming on for an injury time for that. Speaking of,
Shame.
yeah,
My heart bleeds as a non-owner.
it's basically my reaction as well.
There's definitely people listening or watching to this who have got some points on their bench and not many in their team at the moment. Shout out to Mark McGettigan, FPL General, by the way, who's been taking on Haaland and Salah all season, who's got a monster bench boost. He's bench boosted this week. He's got Jose Sarr and stuff. He's already he's already had a brilliant. I think maybe O'Reilly as well. Maybe
nice.
He's already absolutely smashed it already.
Fair play. Okay, then let's get it over with. You've already spoke about this quite a bit, so I guess we don't need to dwell massively on this. Tottenham 1, Newcastle 2, the farewell swan song of Thomas Frank. Bad night for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think most of the ground would have sacked him at half time, mate.
Yeah, I've only seen, in air quotes, the highlights of this, to be fair. But yeah, looked pretty bad. You said the first half was the worst it had been.
I think it was the worst one, actually, because Newcastle just camped territorially. Was a stat I dropped yesterday that Newcastle had the most corners of any team in a first half game this season, and you could have put that stat together after half hour.
Right. Okay.
I think they had 9 corners in the first half hour. Right. How it took them so long to score. And Newcastle thoroughly deserved to win. I don't want to take anything away from them, but Newcastle didn't have to be good to win that game. It just had to step it up again after we equalised. We're like, why are we sitting back? Yeah, go and attack. And then actually, had Mickey van der Ven equalised at the end, actually would have been pretty unforgivable from a Newcastle perspective not to win that football match, because they should have won by 3 or 4, despite not creating huge chances, just the sheer dominance of the football match. I mean, the first half alone, they should have been absolutely well out of sight. I'm obviously going to look at it from my perspective of Tottenham a lot more. But if a team is outstanding against us, like Bournemouth were in game week 3, I'll sit here and go, they were absolutely outstanding. I don't quite think that was the case with Newcastle. We were just that bad. Yeah, I've seen some shocking first halves this season, which actually, by the way, is nearly every single Tottenham home league game this season, bar pretty much Brentford at home, little bit of Sunderland at home, little bit of Burnley at home. Every other first half performance at home this season has been a disaster. 5.5 XG in first halves at home in the league this season. 1.38 of that was against Brentford, by the way. So it's 4.2 XG in first half home games from the other 12, which you can all do your maths, right? It's a little bit over 0.3 per game. Oh, my goodness, mate. They only turn up once they go behind. Oh, what should we do now? Oh, we'll raise the tempo. We're losing. It's all I asked for last week was play with high tempo in this football match. So that final straw for so many, including the football club. You're obviously not looking at Tottenham assets. You can all see the fixture that's left next. You don't want to do that. The consequence you should be aware of is Wilson Odobert. I don't know if it's been confirmed yet, but we think that's an ACL injury.
Yeah.
Which, without any doubt, by the way, if you put together the team Tottenham will play against Arsenal, against the team of injured, the injured players would destroy, I think, the team that is available. So it's not just the volume of the injuries, it's actually who's injured.
The quality.
I think bar Vicario, Van der Ven, Simmons and Solanke, you'd make a case that, those are the only ones maybe from best 11. That would be it. So it is, it's so thin on the ground. We obviously don't know what Tottenham are going to do yet. At this moment, my instinct is that John Heitinger will probably just step up and do the job. And maybe if it's absolutely terrible over the next 5 games and then we hit the international break, they might panic and do something else again. If you've got anything Tottenham, the only thing I would say is there's a few people who will land where they want a defender in 29 and 31 specifically. And I think a few people are holding on to Mickey van der Ven for that, Palace and Nottingham Forest at home. If that's your circumstance, I understand that. Otherwise, there's no reason to be getting excited here because Archie Gray scored twice in the last 2 months or looking for Dom or anything like that. Bad. But look, let's see what happens. For Newcastle, big important result. It lost 4 in a row and his rough fixture schedule coming up. City away, United at home, Chelsea away, all of the next 4. Everton at home is the other one, and Everton have been much stronger away from home than at home this season. So wouldn't be looking to add any of them new. They obviously have Sunderland at home in the blank, which feels like a low scoring game to me. So someone with Malik Chow and now looking at maybe an Alderete problem, I'm probably looking at him now going, I might play you in sort of Everton at home, maybe even Manchester United at home. You'll do me for the blank. That'll be okay. The other thing to note on them, obviously, is they go to Karabag next Wednesday, 3 days before they go to Manchester City. Bruno Guimaraes picked up a problem at the end of the game. I couldn't tell from where I was if he was asked if he wanted to come off, but it was definitely a wave point a few minutes before the issue happened where he got booked. It did look to me then that instant like it might have been a dead leg scenario because of the contact of collision, but it was obviously some communication happening before that. We knew he had the ankle problem against Villa, which he returned from quite quickly. No, not Villa, game before that. But this looked muscular. However, he's the sort of guy who will put himself back out there as quickly as he can.
Yeah, they need him. Yeah,
I'm sure he won't play at Villa in the Cup at the weekend. I would say if you're a Guimaraes owner, with what's coming up,
sell.
I think so.
Yeah,
and it will be an asset like that that makes people look at Rayans and Utaras and stuff. And I totally get that perspective. It was so obvious that Chow was going to score as soon as I left him out. At least I had the haul against Palace. Obviously, the second time that I've missed a big one from him.
I did think of you when the alert came.
I thought of me. Well, I just thought, I knew that would happen. It was absolutely sod's law, but
chef's kiss, that isn't it?
Yeah, it's like, why do I do it to myself? But I'm okay with the decision. I think the logic was all right.
Yeah, we'll obviously cover more Tottenham tomorrow. And
by the way, Jacob Ramsey played really well. Just to add on, obviously scored the winning goal. He played really well. I think there's games recently where he's lacked for energy, and he brings them that good ball carrying ability. He takes the goal really well. Tottenham did not take advantage of the idea of Trippier and Burn playing in the fullback positions. If you're a Lewis Hall owner, I wouldn't be massively concerned about that. I think in hindsight, it was kind of inevitable. As I said, I knew Dan Burn would play. But actually picking up kind of the 3 centre-backs and obviously Burn playing as a left-back was Tottenham's only real threat was set plays, right? Giant on the pitch. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. Well, to come on Tottenham, I'm sure. West Ham 1, Manchester United 1. I watched most of this, albeit very little to talk about in the first half. I mean, practically nothing happened. I was kind of flicking between the Chelsea game and this game because obviously this was the later kickoff. Basically, the only thing to sort of talk about in the first half was another really nice corner routine from United. They're obviously doing some good stuff on the training ground since Carrick's took over. Scored a really good goal against you at the weekend from a corner. It was Luke Shaw that nearly scored this one. That was pretty much it, to be honest. It was a bit tepid, that first half. I think even West Ham and United fans would agree. Did liven up in the second half, though, and West Ham, who do look a lot more well organised since Dizazi came in, and with the Castellanos up front, Bowen and Somerville both playing well. They're just in much better shape and scored a goal. Started in their own corner flag with Malik Diouf. Nice move, really good run and finish from Souček. And then United, kind of natural thing to do really when you take the lead in a position that West Ham are in, is sort of drop back a little bit, and United started to knock on the door. Casemiro nodded one in, but it was correctly
his reaction was brilliant. Casemiro, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think
that's what I'd want if you played for my team. Like, tell me, or you're not sure if it's. Yeah. I appreciate. If I'd have been a United fan, I'd appreciate the signal where he's going. Mom, yeah. It doesn't matter because it's an offside judgment. It's like you're on or you're off. He's gone. I'm not sure. It's not like you don't need to kid anyone because it's factual. I like
very
that.
much so. Yeah. But they did equalise with what I think is a brilliant finish from Sesko. It's the sort of finish that makes you think, yeah, he's a very, very, very good player. Probably the goal of the week, I think. Just the way he takes it is a real touch of class, I think. United were not at the best. I think our United patrons would agree with that based on what they were saying on Tuesday night. Um, but they get a point. Good result from a Liverpool standpoint. So yeah, they'll nothing to be majorly annoyed at. I don't think because Carrick's had a really good start, but I'd say on the balance of what I saw, a draw was a fair result. I think.
Yeah, West Ham certainly wouldn't have deserved to lose the game from everything I've heard and the bits I've seen of it. I think with West Ham, the biggest thing at the moment is they look more offensive. I think Castellanos is helping with that. They played slightly different system here with Potts coming into the team, and that may have been concern around maybe Cunha and Fernandez both dropping into like 10 positions, them getting flooded in that area. West Ham's defenders aren't quite comfortable coming out and pressing and being aggressive like many other teams. You have to look back at Morgan Rogers' goal as a really good example of that back in December. But when we'd have been looking at them at that time and when they lost at Wolves, you're like, they're so slow. It just looked like the least. No one would look at West Ham now and go, well, you're like, you're short of pace or anything. I mean, Somerville's obviously had a really good run. Bowen's fit at the moment. Castellanos is lively. Diouf obviously gives them more energy as well. Suj said to me, yes, he said Aaron Wan-Bissaka is back to the form where he was nominated as West Ham's Player of the Year a couple of years ago.
He was
And
much more impressive than Juve, I'd say, Wan-Bissaka, and got forward more than Juve from what I
and
saw.
Disasai is definitely quicker off the ground than Kilman is. And
Yeah.
it also have Todibo back from suspension for the next game as well. I would imagine that Disasai will stay in the team probably. I think Todibo can be a bit hit and miss. I think Disasai's loan spell at Villa was okay last year, and I said to Suj, like, that seems like a sensible one for me. You're not asking him to come out and play 60-yard balls or step into midfield. The basics of the defending, I don't think he minds those bits too much. They've got everyone fit.
Yeah.
They basically don't have an injury. Pablo was the one. Nuno said, oh, we got some injuries. Pablo, who hadn't started at Burnley, was the one who missed out anyway. Other than that, whole squad's fit. That's really important at the moment. But I also think that's important. Like if you took suddenly Bowen or Somerville, Mateus Fernandez out of that team, the alarm bells would be massive. So, but if they keep that team fit, and they largely should do, with, one game a week period coming up for the majority, whereas say Tottenham and Nottingham Forest have got European commitments. That's obviously another big advantage for West Ham. Yeah, every chance. They look like the form horse down there. I wouldn't rule them out. I do think if they lose to Bournemouth, they'll look at Liverpool away, Fulham away, City at home, Villa away, and that's rough afterwards. And the worst thing you would do, I'm sure they won't, but the worst thing you would do is take Bournemouth lightly.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Yeah.
For Manchester United, I'd seen it quite a bit yesterday, a bit of concern for Bumo and Cunha owners. Bumo's obviously played off the left. That doesn't feel right anyway. It didn't matter against my team, but it definitely doesn't feel right playing against Aaron Wan-Bissaka. It's not like he's going to go round him on the outside or anything like this. He's constantly coming infield onto his weaker foot, I'd imagine. But I think the profile in there is more Cunha dropping short is more natural than Bumo doing it. So if he wants to play with like 2 10s like he did against Tottenham, it's probably Cunha central. If he wants to go more kind of 9, it's Bumo. But the concern is obviously because Will Sesko's come on in 2 of the last 3 games and scored. And that finish, as you rightly said, is outrageous. He's outside the post. It's the only way he can score.
So good. So good, yeah.
But I wouldn't look at that from a perspective of major concern. I would be very surprised if Benjamin Sesko started at Everton over Matthias Cunha or Brian Bumo at this stage, personally. So I think keep running with that at the moment. I wouldn't be running away from it. Anything you run into is probably cheaper unless you're trying to force your way into Palmer. My advice is don't do that. So Harry Maguire maybe picked up a problem, David. I'm not sure.
Yeah, he did take a knock, yeah. Don't didn't seem that bad, I don't think. De Ligt's the one that we've been waiting to come back, isn't it? So he may be, I don't know how far away he is, I'll be honest, but yeah, they've had a reasonably settled side ever since Carrick took over. So I don't think he wants to change that much. If Maguire's all right, I'm sure he'd want to get him out there again. Yeah, United weren't great, but they've been pretty good, haven't they? Since Carrick took over, they've been re-energized. So yeah, I agree.
Not going to win every game.
Yeah,
Your man's still not had a haircut.
Yeah, it's getting a bit boring, all that now, isn't it? To be honest, no offense to him, I'm sure he wants to get his hair cut more than anyone. But yeah, I get the feeling that
If you want a haircut, just cut your fucking hair.
yeah, I get the
Honestly.
feeling everyone's kind of had enough of it now. I think, haven't they?
Yeah. The problem is, I think it's now when this happens again, and it will do at some point. United go and win 4 games in a row, then it's going to get brought up every time now. As soon as it gets to like 2 wins in a row, it's like, is it this time? It's just, it's not his fault that that's why Manchester United haven't won. But actually, it's becoming like a real narrative now.
5 was way too many. Like winning 5 games in a row, even if you're United, is doesn't happen very often. Yeah,
Well, I have to say, if you look at the fixtures left for the rest of this season, I would find it very unlikely that Manchester United at any point here win 5 games in a row.
yeah.
So he ain't doing it for at least another 7 months. Just call it quits and say, oh, I was close. Like, oh, I've changed manager. Just cut your hair, lad.
Yeah.
But it's obviously he's getting him a lot of exposure and stuff. And actually, he seems like an all right bloke. There's not any real reason to be having a go at him or stuff. But the fact that we're talking about it is, yes, we're going to do it again. If he doesn't cut his hair, we're going to joke about it again.
If he does go to the barber, he might see Watford. Might hear Watford's new manager get a mention. Ed Still. Have you heard of him?
What's going on there? Is that Will Steele's brother?
Yeah. See how long he
Watford.
lasts.
I will talk about them. I mean, sorry, not in the Forest in a little bit, but let's cover a couple of other games first.
Yeah. On to Wednesday night's action. I didn't see any of this other than the match of the day highlights, to be honest, but I think you watched a bit more. Villa 1, Brighton 0. Data's very low on this in terms of goal-mouth incident. So, yeah, what can you tell us on this one?
Yeah, this was the majority of what I would, let's say, the game that I watched the most of, I would say, last night. And you're right, the underlying data for XG is not great for last night. I actually thought it was a decent watch, actually. And my standout on it actually was Brighton were much better than what they were against Crystal Palace on Sunday. In fact, there was a period in the second half where it really began to feel like Brighton are going to win this. They were, I don't want to say were really unfortunate not to, but losing was harsh. What definitely helped them was that the team looked physically stronger than it did against Crystal Palace at the weekend. Just little things like being able to play into Welbeck up top and it sticking there just a little bit more comfortably. Van Heck being back in the team, although he had to go off after circa an hour. Clean sheet banked, by the way. It may be a reoccurrence, maybe he wasn't fully fit. They also lost Baleba quite early in the game. Shout out James Milner, equaling Gareth Barry's Premier League appearance record. But yeah, they were much better, Brighton. They didn't look like a team. I was a bit concerned for them after Sunday. And I think there is reason still to be concerned because ultimately just draw too many football matches. So at some point soon, you've got to start winning some games. But if they play like that more often, they'll be okay. I wouldn't be too concerned. Big one that's really interesting is actually it's Minter and him not playing again. I just assumed that was a certainty now. So he came back game week 22. He's still not started.
Yeah, strange that, isn't it?
It's 5 sub appearances.
Yeah, because earlier in the season he just looks
And
their most
only
likely
9 minutes
Yeah.
at Villa 3 days after playing a game 3 days earlier. He seemed like such an obvious one to put on the pitch.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he's still carrying a problem. Surely no one still owns. If you are, it's obvious for the bin. There's no real reason to look up Brighton here. For those, might be a few on Van Heck. Obviously, I'm on for Bruggen. I'm not pissing about with goalkeeper stuff personally. Van Heck, wait for some information. You could use, particularly, I think, for the next 2. And obviously, maybe handy for game week 31. Villa will be more interesting. Leeds Wolves across the next 2. Very importantly, West Ham at home in game week 31. Obviously appeals. Yellow card for Morgan Rogers. Feels like he's accumulating a few of them. But still happy to hold. Certainly not looking at anything different from that in the next 2. And I think as an owner, I would find that very difficult in game week 29 to move on anyway, considering the fixture in game week 31. But there is a chance because I've got 4 free transfers now. I might feel forced into something. And also, if I make a decision, I've been looking at game week 30 for a number of weeks as a get out if I don't think game week 33 bench boost looks good. with Rodgers going to United, there's a possibility that I look at something else, like Rayan going to Burnley, for example, and go, this is going to look better for a bench boost, possibly. But yeah, largely wouldn't want to move him on. Ollie Watkins, I thought, was quite quiet. Intriguingly, Tyrone Mings, who kind of has decisive moment with a little touch on the goal, which unfortunately comes off Jack Hinshelwood, started again, which is interesting. The reason I find that particularly interesting as well is I'm not quite sure on the reason why. And when I think back towards the start of the season, so Tyrone Mings has started the last two. His last start was in game week 6. Game week 6 was against Fulham. He picked up an injury. And we said then that it might be a blessing for them because Pau Torres, in terms of distribution and build-up stuff, is better. Really love Tyrone Mings as a defender, reliable as hell. But just in terms of Villa actually playing, Pau Torres would be a better fit. Now, Villa's outstanding run started there. It's a reality. They were fortuitous to get a point at Bournemouth. They were fortuitous to win this. I know a lot of people want to dig Villa out a lot and say they've been fortuitous a lot this season. That hasn't always been the case. I just wonder if there's a pattern or something there that's a bit concerning. I don't know the reason why Mings has played twice in a row. It could be something basic like Pau Torres is carrying a knock, for example. But I would think even more so missing Yuri Tielemans at the moment, you'd want Pau Torres to help. So I'm surprised. I don't have the reasoning for that. So if a Villa fan wants to tell me, by all means do.
Yeah, Maatsen played at left back, so he got DEFCON last night.
Yeah, I like Ian Maatsen.
Yeah.
If he's 4.2, I think, Ian Maatsen. The problem is Luca Dean will come in for any game.
Yeah.
And if you're building towards 31, i.e. not free hitting in that week, you're not going to go for a player like that. A few people have gone for Matty Cash this week, and he was on my consideration as well. Yeah. So you go, well, he definitely always plays. No, not this one, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Unai Emery, very unhelpful. Thankfully, is a very late press conference, as he always seems to be ahead of an evening deadline. We understand it's a minor problem, though. He won't play against Newcastle in the FA Cup this weekend, but he could well be back for the game against Leeds in game week 27. If you've invested in that, you didn't invest it just for Brighton at home, I suggest you seek a little bit more information first. But I wouldn't chase anything Villa for those two games. If you've got, you're good. Probably not chase it, I don't think.
Yeah. They just keep rolling on, don't they, Villa? Despite all the data.
Yeah, look, incredible season. I think as well, I don't know if obviously the 2 home defeats they had has kind of ruled them out of winning the league. Listen, I'll happily eat whatever you want if they do end up winning the league, but they're not going to win the league. And obviously the form most recently of yourselves, Chelsea, Manchester United, has made them start doing it over their shoulder. And obviously they've been picking up a lot of injury issues suddenly recently as well. The squad looks thinner, so I think there's a bit of concern. So do you know what? The 4 points from the week is good, whether it was deserved or not.
Yeah. Okay. Strand Larsen, whoa. Strand Larsen, whoa. And on his home debut, he takes his goals pretty well, to be fair to him, as the song goes. So,
those who don't know the song, that's an intentional slip up from David. Very well done, mate.
It did take him well, to be fair.
Well, I assume it was, unless you truly did have an ending.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, nicely taken goals, weren't they? Seems to be.
So. Love the headed goal.
Me, they just had a mad 5 minutes here, Palace, and it's cost them the whole game. Yeah, first goal takes it well from fairly close range. Nice header for the second one, and then 3 appalling goals. 2 of them were nice from Burnley, to be fair. The Jadon Anthony was heavily involved gives Henderson the eyes for one of them. Hannibal gets the first one, and then Lerma. Not great on the third one, as he gets hooked at half time. So
he's not great on the second either.
He was the fall guy, I think, from Glasner. So fair play to Burnley. That is
100%.
Yeah,
I'm very pleased for them. That's not meant disrespectfully to Palace in any way.
Yeah, and not in a patronising way to Burnley either, because
no,
they needed that. Yeah.
I didn't watch a huge amount of this game. I had the multi-view on during the first half of this game, but as I said, eyes were really focused on Villa and Brighton. Palace go 2 up. You think game over. the natural of it. Everybody thought the same. Sitting there going, well, Munoz ain't returned, Sarr ain't returned. This is okay, fine. There's not much ownership on Larson. He does take the 2 goals very well. Beautiful assist from Adam Wharton on the first as well. I think years gone by, Cole Walker would have got Strand Larson, by the way, but he takes the goals really well. Loved the headed goal. And because the game had been delayed by 10 minutes, obviously the other 7:30s had hit half time. And ordinarily, I would have stuck the start of Sunderland and Liverpool on, but I knew that you were watching it. So I thought, I know it's finished, but I'll watch the last 10 minutes of the first half. Brilliant football. I mean, I cheered when the third went in, just from a neutral. It wasn't even, Tottenham are close to Palace. It was just the underdog. Good. Have a moment. Have a day. I don't think we'll catch Palace anyway. I'm sure they'll be fine. They've still got good fixtures coming up, despite their home record being more than questionable, to be fair. But there are others worse. I'll put my hand up again. So the first goal was a beautifully worked goal. Like, there was so many good little involvements in it. And Marcus Edwards still ruins my brain because of what a talent he was as a kid, but he is still a talent.
He was good at Anfield a few weeks ago, yeah.
He's
still got something.
I mean, he's probably the smallest player in the league, I'd imagine. I mean, he really is tiny. He's like my height. But he's a better footballer than me. He's definitely got a better left foot than me. I can say that unquestionably. His technical qualities are not questionable. He's a good little player. The first goal was great, well finished from Hannibal. And then I loved the second goal. I know was it a handball? There you go. Gochuku was getting pulled back as well. And he plays this brilliant ball out to Anthony. And I love the directness of what he does. And as he steps in, you think, all the world, bender, far post. And he just closes his foot on it. And proper bottom bin, if you will, at the near post. And then they broke away like straight away again. Edwards tried to square to Fleming. It takes a bit of deflection. I don't think it would have got to Fleming anyway. And then they score from that corner. And they had, by the way, Fleming had missed an incredible chance when it was only 1-0 as well, should have scored. He's now started the last couple. No one's looking at that for fantasy, but it's worth noting. So good luck to them. And Dubravka's made one kind of big save right late on from Ismail Assar.
Straight at him, to be fair.
But yeah, good for them. They've won 2 away games this season, both by 3 goals to 2. So at least they've had a couple of good away days this year. And do you know what I did? Well, how many points are they behind us? I did look, David. No, they won't, unfortunately. They obviously go to Chelsea next. For Palace, the story here from the FPL perspective is that essentially, other than Strand Larson, obviously the assets have missed. Munoz has got a really high XA, primarily because Palace's real big chance in the second half, he's put across the box for Dimitri Kamada, who should score really at the back post. And they just can't get the right contact and heads it wide at the near post. Whatever you've gone, Palace, right, you're holding it for Wolves at home, aren't you?
Oh, definitely, yeah. I know a lot went there for defensive assets, didn't they, for these...
if I could have gone to Munoz in one move for free, I'd have done it without a doubt. He got
subbed on 70-odd, didn't he, Munoz? Which,
we should remember that obviously he's quite recently come back from injury, and also they're obviously chasing. And they're such a good side. Palace's strength in terms of with the speeds. I mean, putting Evan Gassand in the team is a different profile player to Yeremy Pino. So you've got Mitchell and primarily, obviously, Munoz flying from the wing back positions. And now you've got Gassand with Sarr, who wants to run in behind and off of Larson, who is not. I know he's obviously scored the first goal in behind, but he's probably happy to feet as well and stuff. So they can run off him. So you've got speedsters who want to run off from behind. But when you're losing at home to Burnley, your pace is dead. It's not part of the game anymore because they're not going to expose themselves to that. You know what they're going to do. They're going to go low. They're going to say, we'll defend our box and stuff. So I'd probably more read into it from that rather than a particular concern. They obviously are out the FA Cup as well, so no game this weekend. They do obviously play in the Conference League next midweek. It'll be interesting to see how strong Oliver Glaston's team is. Zrinski, I think they play.
Okay.
Obviously, that's on the Thursday, and then the Wolves game is the Sunday. So there's the travel element. The fixture shouldn't be a problem for them, either fixture. But there's the travel element to consider. So that if you were going to chase after Palace, this was the week to do it. Don't have regrets about it. You did it chasing the fixtures. There are still some good fixtures to go. But yeah, home results...
I saw Rory say on the Palace Slack channel that without Gay, they've got no chance. He was saying of winning the Conference League. Big miss, obviously. We'll come on to City in a minute, but
Yeah, two home
Gate,
wins all season, Palace.
Gates,
One of them was last minute against yourselves, David.
yeah, well, they more than deserved to win that day.
Oh
But yeah,
yeah,
get A to Lerma is quite a big drop off, isn't it? And Chaddy Riyad may stay in the team now. I think he came on as a sub at half time. City 3, Fulham nil. This is a game where the underlying data doesn't tell the whole story. I think Fulham actually out XG, easy for me to say. City,
and shots, I think, in the end.
yeah, but in actual fact, City had this getting wrapped up in the first half, really. Yeah, played some beautiful football from what I saw on the highlights. I mean, the O'Reilly goal, fantastic team goal, lovely finish from him. You obviously kept him in the team.
It's a risk every week, though, isn't it? I'm aware of that.
Yeah, he could have got another one though. To be fair,
he could have actually.
Semenyo just killing me. I mean, I've got to really look at myself for not having had him all season.
Follow me whole season, David.
Yeah, follow me for more great FPL tips. And of course, with the likely blank in 31, I'm probably not going to go there now until wildcard time. He was really central looking at the heat map, so very much,
they're playing with this continued with this split forwards at the moment. So,
and I saw his post-match interview as well, and he's basically, he couldn't be giving me any more clues as an FPL asset. He's basically saying, yeah, I want to score more goals and contribute more. And I'm like,
he's very likable as well.
Yeah, like, he's a great fan.
When he speaks, he's the sort of person I could listen to you for a bit longer. Actually, he comes across really well.
I thought the same with Tyrone Mings, actually, after the Villa game. He seems like a really decent fella as well.
Tyrone Mings, I mean, Tyrone Mings has stood up for many stuff in terms of campaigns and stuff as well.
So not having Semenyo, that's on me very much. Kind of took the foot off the pedal, and Fulham had some decent situations in the first half, to be fair. Harry Wilson had a good chance. City pretty much let Fulham do what they wanted up to a point in the second half. They had some decent situations, but yeah, from a Fulham point of view, Muniz played half an hour, came on for Jimenez. That's going to be maybe a recurring worry, I think, for Jimenez owners. Bassey comes in for Cuenca.
Yeah, that's killed that 4.3 dream that I was asking Lewis James about.
And Tete came in for Castagna as well, which is not a massive surprise either. So
no, that's been on the cards for weeks.
Yeah, Haaland off at half time. He got absolutely clattered by Joachim Andersen in the build-up to the Nico O'Reilly goal. I think he scores his goal with that niggle that Guardiola talks about, though, really.
I can tell you that he absolutely does. If you watch back the goal, O'Reilly's goal, Haaland obviously gets taken out. Was it by Andersen?
Yeah, Andersen.
He gets taken out, and in true Haaland style, there's a big counter-attack on, and City are pouring forward. And he sprints about 3-4 strides and stops.
Right.
Almost not dead. It's not like he drops to the floor, but it's like, I can't do that. And if you actually watch him on his goal, his movement looks uncomfortable. I know he can look uncomfortable. I just mean his striding and his stuff looks uncomfortable, and he looks like, as he celebrates, he looks like he's limping away from it as well.
I thought that. Yeah, still smiling though, isn't he? I don't think it's a serious.
No. I don't think Pep's probably telling you the truth with niggles, I should imagine, but I would guess most of us intend to captain him in Gameweek 27, so it's obviously something to monitor, because if he's unavailable, the alternatives, truthfully, the best alternatives are Palmer or Joao Pedro.
Yeah.
Or Semenyo. I ain't got any of them, and neither of you.
No, exactly, yeah. Foden got sent off, I think. It was...
It would look rough for captaincy if he was unavailable for me and you that week. Gabriel? You could do, couldn't you?
Like Hart Lane. Yeah.
Fernandes at Everton.
Yeah. I don't.
Maybe.
Yeah. He's not going to play
outstanding first half from City. In the first half hour, they blitzed them. They looked at their best. And I think real credit for that, because after obviously the manner of the victory at Anfield on Sunday, there's the emotional come down of Fulham at home and stuff like that. And they're a better side than, it's just Fulham at home. Like, they're a dangerous side. And they even showed that for elements of this game. City's clean sheet by the end was fortuitous. I acknowledge that as no O'Reilly owner. But yeah, the work they put to finish that game off as quickly as possible was as much about off the ball work as on the ball work. And Semenyo joined alongside Haaland, both in and out of possession, is working at the moment. Essentially, we are looking at Semenyo at this moment in time as kind of like half nine, if we can call it that, because he'll drift out wide, whether he's at the moment more commonly probably going to be to the left of Haaland. He obviously played a bit of a deeper role against Liverpool with Marmoush playing, but we're looking at an asset here. I think, David, that he's probably going to do us more damage over these forthcoming weeks.
He's so highly owned as well, still, isn't he? He's like 50, nearly 50% owned, I think. There'll be a lot of kind of dead teams that still kind of carrying him as
His
well.
EO
So
is sort of more in the sort of 35% range, I think, at the moment, but that's strong enough to be doing a little bit of damage. If I lost someone like Fernandez suddenly to injury or something, I would maybe go there, David.
mm.
But it
With the
would be
transfers you've got carrying, yeah.
maybe, yeah,
Yeah.
maybe I could probably get away with it, but no, I think I'm going to leave it and let it hurt me. That's weird, that, isn't it? But that's probably what I'm going to do. O'Reilly is just kind of judge it week to week at this moment. He's in my bus team for the game against Newcastle. I do think that at the moment in this system, he is the best profile to play, kind of could call it left of a diamond, basically. He's the best profile to do that. It's working nicely with Bernardo Silva, kind of joining in with the press as almost like a 10 at the moment. Phil Foden played as basically the right of this diamond, and by all accounts played well. Looks like he had some decent efforts on goal.
Naughty tackle on
Mighty
Batty.
lucky not
Yeah.
to be sent off, though.
It's like the
It's, red,
Xavi Simons.
it's a red card.
It's the Xavi Simons one. Very similar to that against Liverpool.
There is a difference between the two,
I think so.
actually. I tell you, because if you watch back those two incidences, because I saw a lot of people making that comparison last night. So I just went back to check the Simmons one on Van Dijk. There is a difference. So they're both coming from the left-hand side, logically. And they're obviously, Van Dijk's going backwards, but from that position, whether it's Simmons or Foden, they're coming from the left-hand side. Simmons stands on the back of Van Dijk's left Achilles, who's the closest foot. Foden steps on the right, and you think, well, that's even worse because he's stepping even further away, and the distance looks so bad. But I know what happens here and why he's got away with it, although I think it's wrong. It's a red card. Foden tries to deliberately trip him. His left foot, as he strides away, he's so far from the ball, he tries to deliberately trip him with his left foot. But his left foot gets away, and then he comes down on the right. Okay. Now, it's endangering an opponent anyway, because it's a deliberate trip, and then you've landed on the back of someone's Achilles. Bad. Red card all day. But there is a difference between those two instances, just to highlight. Whereas with Simmons, you could look at it and go, well, he ain't just tried to trip him. How has he caught him on the left foot? And I don't think either player meant to do what they did, but they are both red cards, in my opinion.
Yeah. Fulham going to be of interest, aren't they, now, moving forward?
Yeah, probably one more. I don't think you're diving into that for Sunderland away. Oscar Bob got some minutes off the bench again to obviously help improve with his fitness. But yeah, once we hit 28, Tottenham at home, West Ham at home, Forest away, Burnley at home. I mean, they're playing the teams, 16th to 19th. And it's a dead end period. Yeah, they're going to get some attention. So Anderson will be right on radar. I think you can't really look at Jimenez or Muniz now for that period, now that Muniz is back. So naturally, those not on Harry Wilson will look at that, and he will go into that category. Might even be more of a debate if you wait that extra week. Enzo Fernandez owners will land at 28 and see Harry Wilson, Utara, Rayan, all with brilliant fixtures, and see a massive temptation in front of them.
Yeah.
I might not do anything because I'm sitting there with Wilson and Fernandez, so the rotation works for me.
Yeah, that is nice, yeah. Anderson dropped in price last night. I bought him last game week for 4.6.
Oh, did he? He's been back to 4.5?
4.5 now, yeah.
Yeah, that's not that. I mean, if you are intending to dead end, the value of the players at the moment becomes just less relevant. You are getting to that stage where it's either I can afford him or I can't. You're getting towards that period. Say, for example, you look at someone like Morgan Gibbs-White and say, oh, he's priced too high. Mark Sutherland's told us that in pre-season. But if you just want to buy him just for Tottenham in game week 31, well, you either afford him or you don't. The closer you get, the more this factors in. It's I can get or I can't.
Speaking of Mark Sutherland's, Nottingham Forest 0, Wolves 0. Some great stats on this one. Obviously, we'll cover the managerial change in the weekend of tomorrow. Sean Dyche has been relieved of his duties, but in fairness to Dyche, which is not something I say very often, he can count himself a bit unlucky not to win the game last night, I think, given the team he put out and assembled, built up an XG of over 2.5, four big chances to none, 35 shots. They didn't score, including one absolutely ridiculous 6v1 situation. I don't know if you've seen this, that Luca ends up spooning
That's
over the bar.
magnificent.
Yeah.
6-on-1.
And there's a hilarious, it's almost like a cartoon like collision between two Wolves defenders in the counter attack in the build up to that. Worth saying Wolves had their own 4v1 situation later on as well that Mane had a reasonable sight of goal with. But yeah, 35 shots, seven each by Nico Williams and Elliot Anderson. So 12 of those 14 were outside of the box. So that probably speaks to a bit of the desperation by the end, really, that Forest had. There were a lot of kind of ill-advised pot shots from low XG positions, I would say. First half, I watched this before the Liverpool game started. Gibbs White was just running the show, should have scored. Lovely ball from Elliot Anderson, who hit DEFCON again, by the way, that Gibbs White probably should have scored. Hudson-Odoi had some good chances. Luca had some good chances. He got the start ahead of Igor Jesus. But you could kind of feel the crowd getting more and more irritated the longer the goal didn't come.
I was trying not to kind of watch it. Yeah. But when I caught Wolves on that counter at the end, my eyes went straight to it.
Yeah. I mean, Forest obviously should have won the game. But anyone who went there with a double game week for Wolves is off to a flyer, especially if you had Jose Sarr. I mean, as we spoke about at the start, 10 saves, 12 points.
Jose Sarr 50 on the BPS, by the way, which is a madness for a goalkeeper. Just point out as well, Nico Williams BPS 40 picked up 2 bonus points. I don't know the data on it, but I presume there's it's probably a huge pass completion stuff, chance creation stuff and the like as well. Maybe a few shots on target, maybe, as you've just said as well.
Yeah. Wolves obviously outplayed in this, but I would say Mane was there most likely to do anything. He, as you said earlier, only one off a DEFCON actually, which, given he's in the game as an attacker, would have been a nice bonus for anyone.
Nearly could have won it.
Yeah, could have won it. Tolu was their furthest forward player, I would say. Adam Armstrong also played. He was a little bit off the left and a bit deeper. He didn't really trouble the XG data, really. Mane
Don't worry, he'll win the Golden Boot next year for him.
Yeah. I feel sorry for him, really.
He does get labelled with it massively, but
take the piss out of him.
It's not good enough for the Prem, too good for the Championship. He does seem to be the kind of typical profile for that.
Yeah, I was smiling looking at the when they put the graphics on for the teams at the start of the game. So there were 3 Gomez's and 2 Buenos in the at the start of the game for Wolves.
Do you want to tell him the dad joke you sent me last night? I said you messaged me. You said unsure why, but watching Forest v Wolves. It's like, knock yourself out. We'll be keen to know the shape of Wolves' attack. And you just messaged me back and went, Gomez in midfield. That's the sort of shit I expect from my dad, mate. Like, honestly.
I didn't say it was a good joke. It's just a joke. Yeah, I mean, it's a result that's got Dyche the sack. Obviously, we'll cover that in more detail tomorrow, but it's a game that we're sort of banking on 3 points off, really, wasn't it? Roughly.
Yeah. As I said, we'll talk more about Dyche and Frank and the changes tomorrow and stuff. The only thing I'd say at this point is the timing for both clubs is very understandable, well documented. Tottenham having obviously 12 days till the North London derby from Tuesday night. This is kind of Forest's only kind of 7-day-ish break as well, right? They go to Fenerbahce in Europa next week. They're also at the FA Cup. So if you want someone to come in and have a few days before a game, because otherwise you're just appointing someone that's going to be recovery, pick team, basically. Because as long as Forest stay in Europa, it's Thursday, Sunday, near enough till the end now, isn't it? Basically maybe 2 midweeks or so. So, yeah, we'll discuss that more tomorrow. I think probably the overriding feeling that most people would have is you appointed Sean Dyche presumably to keep you up. You didn't appoint him as like, Sean Dyche is our guy for the next 2-3 years. Like, it was obvious.
That's the thing, yeah.
And at the moment they're out of it. I saw a graphic this morning that he's got the best win percentage of any manager under Marinakis, which, by the way, will include some that managed them in the Championship.
Steve Cooper and stuff, yeah.
Steve Cooper obviously had a long period in the Premier League that's impacted that and stuff as well. So, but I get it. Football's not going to be what you watch, but you almost, I don't know, you're batting down the hatches, aren't you? Sean Dyche finished me 17th, is what you're saying. Or were you truthfully expecting something more?
Yeah.
I'll say Vitor Pereira's a name that's been mentioned a lot this morning. And by the way, I think a few people frown on that. If it is him, let's remember, he actually did a very good job at Wolves in the first few months. So, yeah, you might get a bit of bounce there and stuff. And they've definitely got the quality of players that can help them stay up. Their problem is, as seen last night, putting the ball in the net actually is a little bit of an issue. You can see why they'd looked at someone like Strand Larsen. Luca got a great headed goal at Leeds.
Did, yeah.
Obviously, that counter-attack ends up is an absolute joke. If they appoint someone and they lose the next 5 league games, don't be surprised if they go again in March Internationals. I'm absolutely serious.
Yeah.
Genuinely.
Yeah. You had to say, like with Marinakis, when it was kind of going south last night, he did have...
And by the way, that could happen to my club as well, where we go like an interim and lose the next 4 in the league and we go, okay, bollocks, it needs to be something else first.
There's an international break still to go, isn't there? Yeah.
But that's the only other chance now. If people want to like get someone in who can have a little bit of time, that's it. And also, obviously, you've got FA Cup quarter-final weekend after the international break. And obviously, both those sides are at the FA Cup as well, but they may have come back to European fixtures. Unbelievably, yes, they could both get relegated and win European trophies this year. Imagine that. Tottenham and Forest both win European trophies. They're the Super Cup final when they're both playing in the Championship next year. Because Burnley, put together a run of results.
That's vivid imagination you've got there, James. That's good work. Looking at...
well done who went to the Wolves assets. Like, I wasn't...
Yeah, fair play.
Well done.
I did enjoy looking at... the camera was like regularly panning in on Marinakis because he is just box office, isn't he, to look at, with...
You watched Match of the Day last night, right? I'll tell you something that's absolutely hilarious last night. Nearly every game they cut to, they showed the weather and how much it was raining. Like, look up at the floodlights. Let me show you how much it was pissing down at this game. And then at the end of the Forest game, he's sitting there in his T-shirt.
Yeah, his white T-shirt. Yeah.
Absolutely love it.
He's got great evil villain energy about him, hasn't he?
I'm not saying anything, David.
Sure, he's a wonderful man, though.
I'm not saying anything, David.
We'll finish on Sunderland 0, Liverpool 1. Finish on a high. It's a great result for Liverpool, this, because first time they've lost at home all season, Sunderland. Obviously, well documented what a really good season Sunderland are having. And I think Liverpool, I don't think I'm speaking out of turn, Liverpool thoroughly deserved to win it. The first half display was really good. The only thing that was missing was the goal. Florian Wirtz, best player on the pitch, pulling the strings, excellent defensive effort. Spoke about him on a weekender recently, saying he's physically a lot more adapted to the league now. And he was putting his foot in, winning the ball back, really working hard for the team. So anyone, I'm sure people aren't, but anyone who was thinking, is Wirtz going to sort of not be a regular factor in this Liverpool team anymore and sort of be substituted for more robust players, he can handle this now. No question about it. Liverpool deserved to win. Set piece FC scored after our abysmal set piece record.
How are we going to score goals now? It was the only way we were scoring goals.
Yeah. Salah's corners. I mean, he didn't really get anywhere near them when Trent was at the club, but he does take a good corner from that right hand side. With
Van Dijk has no idea what's happened when he scores, by the way, in the sense that he obviously gets a flick on it. He's stretching for it, and he's obviously, I'm not sure if that's gone in or not, and knows that where it's landed in the net, it's deflected off something.
Yeah,
I don't think he knows if it's his goal or not.
Yeah, after Diarra came off,
he doesn't really celebrate.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a good performance. There were good performances all over the pitch in Liverpool. Van Dijk and Konate were excellent at the back. Konate had a great battle with Brobby. That was proper two big fellas going at it. Andy Robertson played at left back, very, very good. Kirkes has been fine at left back, but yeah,
He's been much better recently, Milos
yeah,
Kerkez. But yeah, I'd take on
really good.
board a lot of the Liverpool guys said Robertson played well last
Yeah,
night.
he did play well. Yeah, Alexis McAllister much better. I don't think it's any surprise that when he plays well, we have a decent, much better performance and result. He's been very much in and out, to put it mildly. Wide players frustrate him. Salah, I just keeps trying stuff. He never stops trying stuff. In fairness to him, but um, the goals aren't there. Gakpo,
Very unlucky at the end, David, not to
yeah,
with the right footed effort.
yeah, I accept that. Yeah, but yeah, not the output's clearly not been there in recent weeks, or all season, to be honest. Gakpo just so one dimensional, cuts in on that right on side on his right foot and has a shot. That's all he's got really. Ekatike, you and I own him. We're a bit unlucky again not to get any points out of him. He was had a great headed effort. Well, had a headed effort. He probably should do a little bit better. Clear only choice really from our point of view in terms of a number 9. Yeah, for the likes of you and me, we're obviously not going to sell him with the fixtures that are kind of about to
No,
start
he's
now. So
kind of largely been held for this.
yeah,
What's coming up now?
there were quite a few who sold him for Joao Pedro, and they've got their points, haven't they, from the last few Chelsea games? But yeah, hopefully the pendulum will swing our way with what's to come now. So yeah, good result. Unfortunately, Endo, the right back curse, struck again. Really nasty looking injury.
Trent curse, is it a Trent curse now?
Yeah, that's actually one of the questions in our
I saw it. Yeah,
tweet that came out. That's a really bad one. He is such a top pro, Wataru Endo. So I hope it's not a bad injury, but I fear it might be from what Slot was saying. Did a real shift against Sunderland, played their new winger Angulo on the left, who looked lively enough, to be honest. But yeah, Joe Gomez came on. I was just hoping he made it through, but thankfully
is
it looks
that a
like
fantasy watch, Angulo? I've seen nothing of the fella.
I don't even know his price, to be honest.
I should tell you, he's coming at 5, mate.
Oh, lively, yeah. You could do worse at that price, I would say. Probably
Fixtures okay. Fulham, Bournemouth, Leeds, Brighton, and Newcastle. And if you're carrying through, it's actually 32 to 35 across that period. There's Tottenham and Forest at home and Wolves away as well.
Will they have a double Sunderland in 33, likely?
That is somewhat dependent on themselves. They need to get to an FA Cup semi-final. We're scheduled to play Nottingham Forest.
Right. Yeah, you can maybe do worse. Yeah, I've got like Dewsbury Hall, who I wouldn't think about shifting him on for Angulo, I don't think. But yeah, it's a great result for Liverpool. Good performance on Sunderland. Just one of those nights, unfortunately. They'll be really disappointed to lose that home record. But
do you think that played on them? It's something I'd contemplated, that the longer this goes on, you start thinking, well, take draws here. I just want to have this record of unbeaten home season, which would be remarkable.
I don't know, to be honest. Yeah, potentially. Yeah, they would rightly be very proud of that. They do miss Xhaka in the midfield. I think it was a real result. Liverpool not having to kind of go up against him, really, and they
think he's still a few weeks away. By the way,
yeah, they've not quite been the same without him. He's just such an influential player. But yeah, they're clearly safe, but they're still having a great season, and I'm sure they'll kick on from that. They've got Fulham at home next, I think, haven't they? We've got Alderete, haven't we? He's not looking like a massively great option, if I'm honest.
I didn't see him go off. Did something happen, or?
Didn't look overly serious. I can't quite remember what happened to him, to be honest. But yeah, he's one of them. You just keep rolling with him until you're told he's unavailable, I guess. But with James Hill doing bits for Bournemouth now, that will be obviously a much preferable cheap.
It's the sort of one, though, psychologically. Say I look at 27, it's like, I'm taking a Nico O'Reilly gamble every week, and City play Newcastle. If I've got no Alderete, I'm now looking at potentially Joao coming on the way to Man City. and we can laugh about me benching him at Tottenham, but I don't want to play him away to
No,
Man City.
of
Newcastle
course.
fans will tell you their historic record at the Etihad is actually, they'll just tell you not to look at it because it's horrendous.
Yeah.
So that psychologically makes me think, well, if O'Reilly don't play, I'd rather have this cover, and they've got good fixtures. So that's why James Hill might land as a solution for me. It might also, by the way, that Alderete problem might kind of rule me out, maybe going in for Van Dijk. This 17 pointer has finally arrived, David, and of course, neither of us bloody own him for it. It is what it is. But
No
with them
regrets.
fixtures,
No regrets because I had to sell him to get Bruno Fernandes in, so it was just one of them, unfortunately. Yeah.
with them fixtures, they're good. And I have to say, from what I saw of the game last night, I think that's an outstanding result, and you looked resolute
Yeah,
on
we
it.
did.
Intriguingly, I don't know you'd be able to compare better than myself, but I think of the performance at Arsenal. Very different opponent, I know. The victory at Inter Milan
Yeah,
in
very
the
similar.
Champions League. Also the victory at Marseille in the Champions League. Actually, we've got a run of games here in away games where Liverpool have put in some really good defensive displays, particularly. We
I want
should
to
note
shout
that.
out. I want to shout out Ibu Konate as well because I've he's been doing my head in. I think it's fair to say all season in a lot of the pods that we've done. But what I didn't realise and what no one I think realised was that obviously I would imagine his father's been quite ill for quite a while. You just don't know what's going on off the pitch, and maybe
Nah.
that was playing on his mind. And ever since he's come back after his unfortunate passing, he's been absolutely brilliant. Ibu Konate, he scored the goal against Newcastle, which was a brilliant moment. But just in terms of his general play, he looks like he's really enjoying his defending at the moment, which is a great trait to have, obviously, for a centre back. And yeah, just shout out to him. Really, it's good to have him back, and God knows we need him at the moment because centre backs are thin on the ground at the club at the moment. So hope he keeps it going.
Question for you. Haaland's niggle turns out to not be a niggle. He's out for a month. Liverpool have Forest, West Ham, Wolves, Tottenham, Brighton across the next 5. Does Mo go in under that circumstance? He's still not, even if you've got all the money there.
Nah, I'd get Cole Palmer, I think, or Wirtz. Wirtz could have scored more points than Salah last night.
I have to say, under that circumstance, where if someone told me Haaland is out for 3-4 weeks with the fixtures, he'd be going in for me, I think. But it would only be if Haaland was injured.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I'm not seeing it.
I don't mean 1 week. I mean Haaland ain't playing between now and like the blank.
Yeah, you'd need that concrete information, I think, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Top 5 race is interesting, obviously, because we've Villa aren't going away. I think both Liverpool, Chelsea, and United fans were sort of all hoping Villa would come back to the pack a little bit, but United, Chelsea, Liverpool, and presumably Villa have all got to play each other between now and the end of the season. So there's going to be a really good tussle there for the top 5 positions.
Well, your fixture run, last 4 are quite challenging. And over the interesting, you play
we've got to get
35 and Chelsea 36.
Still got to go to Everton as well. We've got to get points on the board on this run that's coming up for sure.
Yeah, I know, Derby. But I would say, generally speaking, you tend to turn up for it. It's worth saying. Your mentality is normally right for Everton. Your run of fixtures up to 34 is good.
It is, yeah.
Truthfully, I know you're behind at the moment, but you really should be ahead when you hit that point. Chelsea's fixtures after Burnley are very challenging. Very challenging. The consequence for yourself, though, is do you get bogged down by putting focus on winning a trophy in the FA Cup or the Champions League? For United, it's such an advantage not having that.
Yeah. And our squad is so thin at the moment. I know people will say, well, you spent 400 odd million, but we did get 300 odd million back. The bench just looks so shorn of options at the moment in terms of, I mean,
You're short. There's no doubt about that.
There was only Chiesa who was an attacking option last night that could have come on, and he, as much as all Liverpool fans love him, I love him. Like his quality is such a drop off from Ekatike. Curtis Jones came on. Pretty sure there's been a bust up there between him and Slot, reading between the lines. But he's
Go on, share what you said on Slack. I saw it.
Oh right, yeah. I think Jones will outlast Slot at Liverpool.
That's quite something, isn't it?
Yeah.
Curtis Jones gonna outsee you, mate.
Yeah. So
Uh,
yeah, I mean, thin bench at the moment. We need a few back. I don't think Jeremy Frimpong's far away. Um, got FA Cup this week, so maybe by the next league game he won't be a million miles away from coming back.
no, but you're just like all around it, and you can
Yeah,
see
yeah.
by substitutions being made in games, you get a
Soberslai
kind
was
of flavour for
suspended
that.
last night, so he'll come back, which is a boost as well.
Yeah, again, impressive to do that without him. Just on Verts, kind of similar to what I've been saying about the Enzo Fernandez, maybe sort of like Rayan, Utara, Harry Wilson in say 28. Similarly, I think Cole Palmer owners will get there and think, well, I don't need to drop to that, but I will very much look at Florian Verts.
Yeah, he's
So
great. He's
another
so
one's going to
good.
be really popular. Yeah, he's on my eyes, Florian Verts, without a doubt. He's beginning to look like the player I think most of us who had seen him previously
Could have hauled last
knew he's
night.
in there.
Could have hauled last night. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he had two good efforts. One, it's the post. You can hear the crowd behind the goal. They're obviously up high there. They all think it's in.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's in and around it. I imagine if you've got Florian Wirtz, I mean, if you've got anything Liverpool here, whether it's Van Dijk, Wirtz, Ekiteke, if you are on Salah, even if you're on, say, Kanate, whatever that is, I think even Szoboszlai at this stage as well, is all a hold, I think,
Yeah, yeah.
now for these
Yeah.
next run of fixtures, I think. Yeah.
Very much so, yeah.
Cheers, David. Thank you, mate. Do you want to dig us out a question or two, mate, before we finish?
Yeah, there's a few.
Just while you look, just a note on obviously Arsenal. Kai Havertz is out of the double. If you've gone there, you are very unlucky. We think out just for a couple of weeks, we think.
Yeah, there's a few Spurs questions, which I know you did a lot on Ask James yesterday, so I won't, and we'll talk more about Spurs tomorrow, so I won't ask any of those. Damien Broynes, which keepers would you consider for the next 5 or so game weeks? He's got Sanchez as part of a double Chelsea defence, and it's killing me with these consolation goals, he says.
Oh, yeah. Let's sell Sanchez before Burnley at home.
Yeah.
Like,
after Burnley, I guess, wouldn't it? Yeah.
okay, it's killing you. But I even think of it like this. What do you expect to gain on the goalkeeper transfer? Bearing in mind there's every chance it's short term. If you're telling me you've wild carded and you're like, no, I don't want this. They run after Burnley's fine. You're like, right, in 28, I want to go for a different goalkeeper for the rest of the season. It's fine. 11 game weeks. I get it. If you're looking to wildcard maybe in 32, well, why bother?
Mm.
Honestly, what do you honestly with goalkeeper returns? There's a lot that's changed in fantasy this year, but goalkeeper returns having a kind of a randomness element about it, like Jose Sarr this week, put yourself in a position to be lucky, will remain that. If Chelsea go to Arsenal and win 1-0, by the way, they very nearly kept a clean sheet there in the League Cup very recently. I know Arsenal didn't have to score. He's potentially in for a haul. So if it's really short term, maximize your transfers on something better. I'm sitting there with a Brugg and Dubravka. I ain't getting shit ready for the next 5 weeks. I ain't making a transfer on it unless if I've got an injury, different.
Yeah.
But maximize your transfers on stuff that hopefully will take you to the stars rather than goalkeepers. So my answer is no, Sanchez. If 28 and you're waiting that extra week and it is more of a longer term, then I think Kelleher timing wise might look all right. Robin Rose as a different consideration just for consistency, really, really good. Those would probably be the standout two, I would say, probably in terms of that particular time in there.
Yeah. Okay, do one more. FPL Daniel, most exciting pick from now until blank game week 31 for all that are planning wildcard 32. I'm going to say
exciting.
Florian Wirtz, I'm going to say.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd him and Ekiteke. If I didn't own Ekiteke, I would be really wanting to get there quite quickly. It's personal opinion. I've not always blanked in a couple. I'm like, yeah, he's going to be there. I'm fairly confident as we were before we got the whole, who was that against? 13 point or so, wasn't it?
Newcastle.
Newcastle, yeah.
2 at Leeds as well.
I'm fairly confident there's going to be more of that in this little period. So I would say those two. Yeah, Liverpool. I don't know if we put Rayan in that category. I suppose it probably should with the fixtures Bournemouth have got coming up.
Utara.
Yeah, falls into that. And Kevin Sade obviously will have next to no ownership. He's obviously going to be back from suspension for game week 27 against Brighton as well. So I think those are the obvious ones.
Yep.
You could maybe still say a Palace player, but I just think ultimately, if you were buying Palace, you'd have done it week gone. To give you a rogue one, maybe something like Rodrigo Muniz maybe gets back in the Fulham team. I don't think you can look at that at this moment in time. Um,
That's a
yeah,
few. That'll do.
it's a real kind of fixture part of the season, I'd say. I throw you another one, maybe is Eight Nori.
Mm.
Just really short term for the next four. I do think you'll probably have favouritism at left back now. That's not to panic O'Reilly owners because he's playing in midfield at the moment. That would be another player that would have next to no ownership who, yeah, sure, there's a good upside in that.
Yeah. Right. That'll do us.
Cheers,
James.
mate. Much appreciated. We'll be back tomorrow on the Weekender, where, yes, we'll cover a bit more of Forest and Tottenham. We'll cover, obviously, the game tonight. We'll cover both Arsenal games on the Weekender across the next 2 Fridays. Be plenty more on that. We'll have a little look at what's going on in the Championship this season, amongst a few other things as well. Tommy Tuchel, New England contract. If you're on the audio, a 5-star review goes a really long way. YouTubers, smash a like, hit the sub button. As always, play it your way and please be nice to each other. Cue music, please. Man child.